All right, I've got good news and I've got bad news when it comes to car theft in Quebec. The good news, car thefts have dropped by over 32% in 2024. That's according to the latest report from Équité Association. That's a significant improvement from the previous year. Here's the bad news, right? Well, it dropped by 32%. We're still at 10,290 thefts. So, that's just how bad it was. It was at 15,000 plus. Now it's at 10,000 plus. Let's take a closer look here at car theft in the province and the fight against car theft. Betty Ng joins us now, Director of Investigative Services over at Équité Association. Betty, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Elias.
Okay,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. Let's try and focus on the positives first to start off. So how do we do it? How did we drop the number by 32%?
The decline is actually attributed to the collective efforts from all of the stakeholders, from the federal government, from the insurance industry, CBSA, everybody working together, and definitely the public awareness.
And public awareness? So you mean people have made decisions now to protect their car themselves?
Absolutely. Knowing out there that, so first of all, the additional enforcement from different police agencies and all of the law enforcement agencies, very important. But additionally, the public awareness, knowing that you need to protect your vehicle. And that's another key issue that I think we're bringing it to front and center to everyday Canadians.
So having said that, right, and I'll take a 32% drop any day of the week, but then when I look at the total number, 10,290 still, I say to myself, well, no, not enough is being done. There's probably a car you know what? I bet you statistically speaking, there's a good chance somebody who just stole a car is listening to us on that car's radio. So
I bet you, yes, that's for sure.
So what do we need to, what more do we need to do here? How do we get it from 10,000, to something reasonable?
Right.
Yeah.
32% reduction is absolutely impressive. However, we're nowhere close to be reasonable. And in my opinion, no car theft is ever reasonable, right? So what do we need to do? Is the government and the private industry and then the insurance industry as well as the manufacturers all working together. More importantly, making these vehicles harder to steal.
Okay, let's talk about that. Making these cars more difficult to steal. So I own a car. The car that I own was the number one selling car in the world last year. Okay, so it sells a lot of units. It's nowhere to be found on the stolen list. Okay, and I know why, because I can track that car. It's got built-in tracking. I can put a 4-digit PIN code on the car. I can look at the cameras at any time. I can turn off the car myself. From any in the world, I can say, nope, you can't drive the car anymore, and completely lock it out. There's so much technology in my vehicle to stop theft, and then I look at other brands, and it seems like they're doing none of that. So what needs to be done on that end? Why are some car brands not doing enough here?
Well, it's, with the government not having to push these mandatory updates, not mandatory updates. The motor vehicle standard hasn't been updated since 2007. So that's a must. So we need to have that updated by having the auto manufacturers updating that as a mandatory piece, having very, very effective immobilizers installed in these vehicles when they're coming off the conveyor belt.
Because the technology exists, right?
Absolutely.
Do you ever get a thought that some manufacturers haven't taken this seriously because it leads to more sales?
It's important for them sales is important, but more importantly, the safety of everyday Canadians, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there are issues with their conveyor belts and what they need to adjust, but I'm sure they have the technology to do so.
We're with Betty Ng, Director of Investigative Services over at Équité Association. They've just released a report on car theft in Quebec. Here's one thing. I would put this in the bad news column, Betty. When you look at the vehicle recovery rate in Canada, Quebec still has the lowest. only 43% of stolen cars are recovered. Why are we so bad at recovering stolen vehicles?
Unfortunately, with the close proximity to, having one of the biggest ports exporting, and all of the criminal syndicates or the market for transatlantic is right there. So everything is going out from the ports, and your recovery rate is definitely going to be lower than others. The time frame for these vehicles to be shipped is a lot faster, and also the sheer volume of vehicles that guys sought after. It's a lot more available in the Quebec and in the Ontario area.
Betty, this is just coincidentally, we did an interview before the one we're doing right now, and it was on organized crime with a retired Montreal police detective. And one of the things that came out of that interview is that crime pays in this country. Like the sentencing is so lax that it's a very low risk enterprise. Is that still the case here? If you want to make stealing cars your living, are there enough risks when it comes to jail sentences and ramifications for your life afterwards when it comes to stealing cars?
Unfortunately, our laws hasn't been updated as well, and it's quite relaxed. And at this time, a lot of these auto theft crimes are considered as property crimes. So there is not enough to deter as a deterrent from the sentencing perspective for the bad guys to say, you know what, I'm going to stop doing this. Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
Betty, is this why all of our car insurance premiums have skyrocketed?
It's a contributing factor because the losses it's just so much that we definitely need to continue to focus, work as a group and work as a team with the government, the insurance companies, and law enforcement agencies and the CBSA to stop this bleeding.
I have a note from a listener here listening to our interview saying, hey, there's an easy way to prevent car theft. Switch to a standard shift driving, a stick shift, right? A manual car. But so, I guess that would work. But to wrap up here, Betty, what are the tips you would have to our listeners right now, on the protection, on the defense aspect of things? What's your message to our listeners this morning?
As we kind of mentioned it at the beginning, law enforcement agencies are doing their part, but additionally, as everyday Canadians, protect your vehicle. Be aware of your surroundings. Park your vehicle in a well-lit area. You need that audio alarm if that you don't have one already installed in your vehicle. Have a immobilizer, a tracker, or the traditional way, having a wheel lock. The idea is to slow down the bad guys.
Betty, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for coming on, and hopefully you can come back again soon with even better numbers, okay?
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me.
Betty Ng is Director of Investigative Services over at Équité Association.